We get our first look at the newest Warrior, Will Richard, yesterday at the California Classic. Still no Alex Tui. I don't know if that part of the trade had been not finalized yet, but we still haven't got a look at him. Hopefully Wednesday against the Heat, that will be our first look at the big Australian. But Will Richard, national champion, shooting guard, 3-and-D advertised, and that's kind of what it looked like. You know, I think first impressions was like, okay, I like the body, the size, like he looks strong enough, long, twitchy. And first possession of the game, he fights over the top of a screen, stays attached, and flashes a strip and rip, goes coast to coast. He seems to have really active hands, but I think most importantly, it seems like he's willing to hang his hat on the defensive end. And he flashed some point of attack defense potential with just the willingness, the physical attributes, good size at that guard position, and it's intriguing. It's intriguing. Now, offensively, he also showed the ability to find contact and get to the line, which is not always easy to do in these summer league games where, you know, there's 10 fouls. But what I would say is he's a strider. You can see it when you look at the highlights at Florida and you saw a couple transition plays. He likes to take these long strides and get to the rim, which is fine. It is a nice attribute to have. But I think what he'll have to realize is in the NBA, he's not going to be able to outstride everybody. He's going to have a counter to that, a short step or a Euro step or something, because there's just so much length and athleticism at this level. It's not going to be as effective as it was at the college level. Now, he hit a couple of quick threes in transition, and it's a quick release. It's compact. And down the stretch, he came off a pin down, like a Clay set play, and knocked one to keep it to a one-possession game. He couldn't get one in the corner where I don't think he got all the way squared up. He was running to the corner, and he turned around, didn't get squared up. They had a big, lanky defender on him all night. But it's funny because when we talk, listen, the Moses Moody comp is inevitable, right? Because the reality is, look, right now, you know, physically, he looks like he can be a better defender than Moses. He moves laterally better. They both possess the active hands. Moses might be a little bit longer and stronger, but you know, that's what you see physically. But that's only part of the defensive, you know, pot, right? Because it's how alert and aware are you all the time? How high does your motor rev? Your IQ, do you understand, you know, the KYPs and scouting reports and how quickly he learns those things? So just because he has the physical attributes to maybe be a better defender doesn't mean that he will be. When you get to the offensive side of things, it's funny because what I see is two different things that could occur with their shot. When you're talking Moses in the three ball, right, he runs into issues at the bottom of his shot where he kind of pockets and he takes that big dip, and then it doesn't allow him always to get the shot off cleanly. And the window needs to be bigger than you would like. Will, it's super quick, it's super compact, he gets good elevation. But what I'm seeing, and again, I have a full breakdown of this on my Patreon with the highlights, and it's in more detail. I think where he runs into trouble is at the top of his release, where at times it looks like he might let it go a little bit late. And the sign to me of that is there's like a little extra jolt, a little extra lets it go, and then a jolt at the end. But this is, again, early impressions. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've seen him play a ton. I saw him play in the tournament, but I wasn't like hyper focused on him. But yeah, so they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to releases. Will's super quick, compact, and he you know, at the top he runs into issues where Mo he sets it here and then he gets into trouble. But both of them obviously can make the three ball. But overall, like, yeah, man, I'm impressed and I'm excited. And I think my overall take was, okay, he's a basketball player. He's not just an athlete who can shoot. He's a basketball player. He made, again, creating turnovers, communicating, and making the extra pass. There was that sequence where he got the steal, ran ahead, touch lob to Jackson Rowe. Next time down, he catches it on the wing. Could have easily taken it and touch passed it back to the guard for the open shot. So he's a willing passer. He makes the basketball play. He's obviously an experienced college player, and he's it's intriguing, man, because again, the point of attack potential, I think he's going to shoot it well enough. Like when I'm critiquing, the issues, and I'm not saying he can't shoot well, but that all shooters, everyone who shoots a basketball, there is a part of a mechanic that if they're not making shots, usually breaks down, right? And the important thing is to identify that. So if you are missing shots, you're like, okay, it's usually at the top of my release. It's usually my hand placement, or my feet, right? And so that's what I'm saying with that. I'm not saying he's not going to be able to knock threes down, but I was impressed with his ability to draw contact at the rim, got to the line a couple times. And that's a spot, watch, moving forward through the Summer League, you can see the late release on the free throw as well sometimes. But yeah, Will Richard, so far so good, is coming as advertised. Now, we also got a much better look at LJ Crier. Played Will in the national championship game for that Houston Cougar team. And look, he may look like an Amazon driver, but he delivers buckets, right? He's a straight bucket getter. And what stands out, first of all, we talk about hand placement on shooting, right? I know I'm getting real, coachy here, but this is what I do. This is what I do, right? His hand placement is super funky on his shot. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, yo, is he a lefty? Is he a righty? Just the way but clearly he's a shooter with confidence on 10, the way he jumps into some of those threes. His movement patterns kind of remind me of Tyrese Maxey in the way that he can create separation. Obviously, he's not as big a body as Tyrese Maxey. He might be 6 foot. You heard old St. Jean on the telecast, kind of suggest that. Is he 6'1"? Is he 6'1"? I don't know about that, right? But he's clearly effective in creating separation because, like Maxey, he is able to keep the energy loaded in his legs while coming to a stop and changing directions. That's a unique physical characteristic that if you can do that and have a handle in a shot, you're going to create a lot of separation, right? And so he was filling it up. He was filling it up defensively. If you play for Houston, you're going to defend. To me, it's not so much that he's able to stay in front of guys. It's his recovery speed. You can go by him, but then he's right there. It's his recovery speed that's impressive defensively. And you look at the trend in the NBA now of picking up full court ball pressure and picking up pressure in the backcourt. That's somewhere where he could probably shine and be utilized. But that said, look, don't shoot the messenger here. Does he feel like a Steve Kerr Warriors type of player? Right? Like, as fun as he is to watch, he doesn't pass the ball. And it makes sense because when you're 6 foot tall and you score like that, you don't develop that by passing the ball. He's not a passer, a distributor. He's not really a point guard. He really isn't. But, he's a guy that on the flip side, if you want a more positive thing, is his confidence in shooting ability. I don't think he'll be bashful with Steph on the court. Not that you play them together, right? But we've had that issue in the past with these scorers that you think will be fine out there, and then they get with Steph and Draymond in the organization, and they're not the same confident scorers. I don't think that would be the issue. I just don't see him being a Warrior type guy. Smaller, not a connector, doesn't really pass, he looks like a pick and roll ISO score guy. However, maybe it's time to change, right? Maybe we could use that with the second unit. So don't get me wrong, I'm not ruling him out as far as getting a training camp invite or anything like that. And he's a fun watch, but that's what crossed my mind. Like, it definitely doesn't feel like a guy the Warriors end up going with. Isaiah Mobley. I don't know why. If you want a funny analogy, you can go to the Patreon. I'm okay. I'm gonna keep it PG here, but I don't know why I thought he was 7 foot. I don't know. I don't know if it was I don't know if I've been watching too many W games and my scaling is off on the court with these guys. I think the reason maybe was when I initially saw the Mobley brothers, I think he was bigger than Evan, and then obviously Evan kept growing, and so that I just had that in my head that he was that big. But 6'8" kind of changes the equation. Goes without saying. At 6'8", like, that's far different than 7 foot. Like, I'm like, dude, he's 7 foot. He's moving and doing this like 6'8". But you want to talk about a system fit. High post passer. Did you see the Kevin Love outlet? He dotted Will Richard there. Highly skilled at the basket. He's got counters on counters on counters. He can pivot, turn over either shoulder, kind of an awkward rhythm, soft touch, great hands. can shoot the three. And so reevaluating and realizing he's not as large as I thought he was, that's definitely a pause. Could he be some sort of version of Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, where with the second unit, he's kind of like this hub forward, this big hub forward where he can make the split catch passes, turn, shoot the three, face up, and he has that huge long stride to the basket. He's very gifted offensively. Defensively, he's not going to provide rim protection, right? You Connect blammed on him the other day. I think he got dunked on yesterday too. But he seems to be in the right spot. You might have to zone up with him defensively, but he's got the quick hands. And so I'm still intrigued with Isaiah Mobley. I'm disappointed he's not a 7-footer, but it makes sense. If he was 7 foot, he would have already been on someone's roster, right? He would have already been on someone's roster. But yeah, man, those are my first impressions of Will Richard. And I know, did LJ play in the first one? He didn't play as much. But as these games, I think there's one more California Classic, and then they head to Vegas for the official Summer League. And so, again, it's dynamic. Maybe I'll feel differently by the end of Summer League, but my first impressions of those two players, and at some point here, we got to see Alex Tui, who actually I'm the most excited to see. Personally, I don't know why, but that's who I'm most excited to see. And I will continue with the updates. But again, if you want the full breakdowns of the scouting over the footage, getting in more detail and having some fun, talking some trash, the link will be in the description for the Patreon. As always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.